The moon was a sliver of bone, a curved blade hanging over the quiet suburb of Northwood. Down on Willow Creek Lane, house number 237 stood like all the others. A two-story colonial, painted a cheerful, unassuming blue. Single upstairs window faintly illuminated. A place for family dinners, holiday photos, for scraped knees, bedtime stories. That October night, the air seemed to hold its breath. The chorus of crickets had fallen silent. The wind through the ancient oaks was still, a stillness heavy and unnatural, a prelude to a storm no one saw coming. The house slept under a blanket of darkness, its windows like closed, unseeing eyes. Inside, the Miller family dreamt ordinary dreams. David, the father, hearty laugh, weekend barbecues. Sarah, the mother, her garden, patient hands. Leo, 14, messy hair, model airplanes. The picture of suburban contentment, a snapshot of the American dream. School runs, soccer practice, shared meals around a sturdy oak table. Ilara, 17, awake, eyes wide in the suffocating dark. She listened to the house breathe. Gentle snore from her parents' room down the hall. Soft sigh from Leo's room next door. Each sound a thread in the tapestry she would unravel. Posters of obscure bands, dog-eared poetry books, half-finished painting on an easel by the window. The grandfather clock downstairs began to chime. 1, 2. Each chime a drumbeat, a signal. For Ilara, a call to action. She rose from her bed, a shadow detaching from other shadows. She moved with chilling, predatory grace. No sound, just deliberate, fluid motion across familiar floorboards. The house on Willow Creek Lane, vessel of happy memories, was about to become a stage for unimaginably devastating darkness. The cheerful blue paint, a cruel irony against the darkness blooming within. Ilara's bare feet made no sound on the plush hallway carpet. She was a ghost in her own home. Her first stop was her parents' room. The door was slightly ajar, a silent invitation. The air inside was warm, thick with sleep. She stood over their bed for a long moment, a silhouette against the faint moonlight filtering through the blinds. The object in her hand was cold, a stark contrast to the warmth of the room. It was a chef's knife from the butcher block downstairs, honed to a wicked edge. The first scream was Sarah's, a sound of pure, unadulterated terror that was cut short almost as soon as it began. It should have shattered the neighborhood's tranquility, but it was swallowed by the insulated walls of the house. David awoke to that sound, his mind struggling to catch up with the nightmare unfolding before his eyes. He saw a shape, a flash of movement, and then an explosion of pain. He fought back, a father's instinct to protect kicking in, but he was disoriented, caught between the worlds of sleep and a waking hell. The struggle was brief, a frantic, desperate dance in the dark. The only sounds were guttural, primal, before they too faded into the suffocating silence. Next, the room of her brother, Leo. His door was closed, a sticker of a rocket ship peeling at the corner. She turned the knob with an unnerving gentleness. Leo was asleep, tangled in his superhero-themed duvet, his mouth slightly open. He was dreaming of galaxies and distant stars. She looked down at her little brother, the boy she had taught to ride a bike, the one who left dandelions on her pillow. Then, she raised the knife again. The act was swift, brutal, and utterly silent. There was no cry from Leo, just a sudden, sharp intake of breath that never found its release. With the deed done, Ilara did not flee. Not yet. She moved through the house as if in a trance, her steps measured and calm. She went to the master bathroom, the cool tile a shock against her bare feet. There, she washed the knife in the sink, watching the crimson water swirl down the drain until it ran perfectly clear. She dried the blade with a hand towel, her movements meticulous, almost reverent. She then returned the knife to the butcher block in the kitchen, placing it back in its designated slot as if she had just finished slicing vegetables for dinner. The kitchen was immaculate, the counters wiped clean, a testament to her mother's tidy nature. Her next actions were even more perplexing. She walked into the living room. She took each photo down and laid them face down on the coffee table. She didn't break them, didn't tear them. She simply erased their cheerful gazes from the room. Then, she went to her brother's room. With delicate fingers, she unhooked the small painted planet of Earth and slipped it into her pocket. The rest of the planets were left to orbit a new gaping void. The hours between the act and the dawn stretched into an eternity. What filled those hours? No one knows for sure. Did she sit in the silent darkness? Did she wander the ruins of her life? Police would later find a single cup of tea, cold and untouched. A silent vigil, perhaps. As dawn bruised the sky, Alara made her final move. Who was Alara Miller? To her teachers, she was a brilliant, if quiet, student. A girl who turned in essays that were hauntingly beautiful, filled with wisdom beyond her 17 years. She excelled in literature and art, her mind fertile with complex ideas and dark romantic imagery. Her grades were flawless, her attendance perfect. She sat in the back, never raised her hand, but absorbed everything, a ghost in the academic machine. She was seen, but never truly known. To her few friends, she was an enigma. Intense, magnetic, a girl who spoke in poetic riddles and seemed to live in a different reality. Fiercely loyal one moment, icily distant the next. They shared secrets with her, but she offered few of her own. She preferred long walks in the woods to crowded parties, deep conversations about philosophy to idle gossip. A beautiful, tragic figure, like a character from the Gothic novels she loved. They were drawn to her darkness, but never suspected how deep it ran. In her writings, a different Alara emerged. Journals filled with dense prose, the nature of existence, the futility of love, the beautiful release of nothingness. She described her family not with hatred but with a strange, clinical detachment, as if they were characters in a story she was tired of reading. Was there a trigger, a hidden trauma? Investigators scoured her life for a motive, for some crack in the facade. They found none. No history of abuse, no explosive arguments, no cries for help. The Millers were, by all accounts, loving and supportive. And that was the most terrifying part. The horror seemed to spring from a deeper, colder, more intellectual place. A philosophical decision. A belief, perhaps, that she was not destroying her family, but liberating them, and herself, from the meaningless charade of life. The discovery was made by a neighbor, a kindly older woman named Martha. Worried when Sarah wasn't in her garden, she used the spare key. The silence that greeted her was heavy and oppressive. The house was neat, almost unnaturally so, and the air was thick with a coppery scent, the smell of a promise broken. First responders found quiet, methodical carnage, no forced entry, no struggle downstairs, horror confined to the bedrooms. It felt like a dark ritual tidied up, a perfectly staged tableau of death. In the days that followed, the house became a grim landmark. News vans lined the street, satellite dishes like metallic sunflowers. Flowers, teddy bears, handwritten notes grew on the lawn. People drove by slowly. Morbid curiosity, profound sadness. The cheerful home became a silent, blue tomb. The investigation became a manhunt. Alara's face was everywhere. Television, gas stations, social media. Agencies were on alert. They had her photograph, her fingerprints, her DNA. They had everything but her. No phone pings, no credit card usage, no online activity. She severed every tie. Theories multiplied like weeds. Did she have help? An accomplice before dawn? Investigators probed her circle, her online acquaintances, everyone in her dark orbit. Every lead went cold. They searched woods, quarries, rivers. They found nothing, weeks to months to years. A trucker in Oregon, a barista in New Orleans. Each report a brief flare, each a dead end. She became a ghost story, a cautionary tale. The file grew thick with dead ends and false hopes. Today is October 9th, 2025, Willow Creek Lane. The leaves are turning brilliant shades of orange and red, just as they did on that night years ago. A new family lives at 237. Children's bicycles on the lawn, the paint a soft, hopeful yellow. And yet, sometimes a chill remains. The story has become a local legend, a dark piece of folklore woven into the town. Alara Miller would be in her late 20s now. Is she living under a new name? In a new city? With a new life built upon the ashes of her old one? Does she think of her family? Does she feel remorse or still believe in the strange, cold logic that guided her hand? Perhaps a waitress, a librarian, a painter of lonely landscapes. She could be anyone, anywhere. Or a ghost, her bones in some forgotten corner of wilderness, a secret kept by the earth. The not knowing is its own kind of haunting. The world is full of unanswered questions. None as chilling as hers. What separates the ordinary from the monstrous? How thin is the veil between love and nihilism, between a family portrait on the mantle and a knife in the dark? Alara tore through that veil and showed the void beneath a perfect life. No ending, no resolution, only the crime, and then the disappearance. A period of absolute violence followed by an ellipsis of infinite mystery.